Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, all you thought criminals and conspiracy theorists. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. Normally, people only watch 3 to 6 minutes of videos on average and don't watch the rest. I ask you sincerely, because I think this is important, that you watch this entire video. It's not going to be that long. This is how important this is. USDA announces religious schools would be exempt from the Title IX expansion. The department asked schools to accept federal funding to expand their sex-based discrimination policy to include sexual orientation and gender identity. Now, let's take a look at what Title IX really was supposed to be. And I hate like hell to use this source, but it's actually accurate. Title IX is the most commonly used name for the federal civil rights law of the United States. It was enacted as part of the Title IX Education Amendments of 1972. It prohibits sex-based discrimination in any school or any education program that receives funding from the federal government. Sex-based discrimination. In other words, male, female. That's in essence what it was. And it goes on and on about, why they did it and who were its champions. When the Title IX was passed in 1972, only 42% of students enrolled in American colleges were female. And they were saying because that was discriminatory practices. Okay. Now the vast majority are female. Is Title IX, that bureaucratic monster of Title IX in the U.S. government, federal government, going to start going after colleges now because the vast majority of college students are female? A much higher percent of males, young men, drop out of college than females. So is Title IX going to kick in? The purpose of the Title IX Education Amendments of 1972 was to update the Civil Rights Act of 1974. They did not address or mention discrimination in education. Now, who could be against that, right? Who could be against screwing over young ladies, young women, trying to get into college to better themselves? And that's the point. That's why conservative people, they say, well, we're homophobes for being against same-sex marriage, and that we're ridiculously racist and prejudiced because of this, this, and this. Because always, the bureaucratic state that Republicans complain about a lot but do very little, faceless, nameless, unelected bureaucrats can just change things without permission from the population, i.e. federal law, in the House and the Senate, and signed by the president. They can change laws without your permission, or anybody's permission for that matter, or your vote for your representative to vote for it. They become the authoritarians. It's exactly what it is. In May, the federal department announced they would interpret the sex-based discrimination prohibited under Title IX to include sexual orientation and gender identity. They announced they would expand. Well, who gave them permission to expand it? Not the legislature, which was a representative of the people. They did it on their own. Nameless, faceless bureaucrats. Schools that receive funding from the USDA, including the National School Lunch Program, were required to alter their non-discrimination policies aligned with the change. That means if you don't instruct children on gender identity, bathroom use, all those things, we're going to let children go hungry. Go hungry. And we know that disproportionate percent of low-income children are non-white. So unless you submit to our expansion of the definition from Title IX, which we're going to twist and turn and alter to whatever we want, We're going to let small children go hungry. Shame on you. I say something else, but I'm trying to tone down my language. Religious education institutions are not required to submit a written request for exemptions. If, however, a religious education institute wishes to seek USD recognition of the religious exemption, it may do so through blah, 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 more red tape. Let's get to the heart of the matter. In June, the Attorney Generals of Alaska, Georgia, Arizona, Kansas, Ohio, and 20 other states co-signed a letter to President Biden asking him to intervene and prevent the USDA from enforcing its memorandum expanding sex-based discrimination, teaching sexual orientation, and teaching gender and what it is, to their twisted view of it, in my opinion. This has nothing to do with discrimination. Absolutely zero. We're going to hold low-income children hostage unless you go along with our ideological teachings. The AGs described the policy as unlawful and argued the USDA tried to circumvent established regulatory practices by presenting the Title IX guidance as a clarification when it was actually a rewrite of the law. That's exactly what they did. They rewrote the law from its original intent to whatever intent they want. That is the bureaucratic state. Only legislators, in this case the House of Representatives and the Senate, and the President can sign things or change things as far as law goes at the federal level. The founders are rolling over in their graves. We have long had a productive relationship, blah, blah, blah. But the guidance flouts the rule of law, relies on patently incorrect legal analysis that are currently under scrutiny in federal courts, and was issued without giving the states the requisite opportunity to be heard. The people weren't heard. The bureaucrats changed the law without the permission of the populace. To go back to my original, what I said at the beginning, why were conservative people against same-sex marriage? Not because they don't care who you have a relationship. They don't care who you love. They don't care who you live with. They don't care who you're intimate with. It's none of anybody's business. But it always, always, always expands, i.e., in this case, I'm a baker, and you're a same-sex couple. And I say, for religious reasons, I'll bake you a cake, but I won't decorate it. You'll ruin their life. You'll ruin their life. You'll use it as a cudgel to pound your ideology and what you think everybody else should think like. That is authoritarianism. That's what they did in Europe, in Germany. I'm not going to go into details because the algorithm will pick up the words. That authoritarianism was done in the 1930s and early 1940s, and how'd that work out? We all know the Biden administration is dead set on imposing an extreme left-wing agenda on Americans nationwide. Their Attorney General Todd Rokita said, but we've reached a new level of shamelessness with this ploy of holding up food assistance for low-income children unless the schools do the left's bidding. That's exactly right. I'm not against people that are trans. I'm not against people that are gay. You know, LGBT. LGB is what it was for a long time. And people, like the American people, are extremely tolerant and have empathy for people. They really do. Lesbian, gay, bisexual. And people said, you know, that's just what they are. That's what they do. You know, God bless them. I wish them all the success and happiness in the world. But they always have to push. That's why conservative people are against simple things like same-sex marriage. The other Attorney General sued the USDA in July, arguing the department issued directives and rules that misconstrue the law and impose unlawful requirements to inappropriately expand the law far beyond what statutory text regulatory requirements, judicial precedent, and the U.S. Constitution permit. That's exactly right. Let me read that again. The law to impose unlawful requirements to inappropriately expand the law far beyond what statutory text, meaning the written part of the law, regulatory requirements, judicial precedent, and the U.S. Constitution permit. The USDA's clarification regarding religious school exemptions from the guidance came 1 week after Grand Park Christian Academy in Florida was granted an exemption by the Biden administration. The school filed a lawsuit in July arguing the requirement would hurt its education mission, free speech, and religious exercise. This is about the bureaucratic state. Now they're holding low-income children hostage. If you don't go along with this expansion, and we can do an expansion any way we want. We can interpret this any way we want because we run Title IX for the federal government, faceless, nameless, unelected bureaucrats. That's who really runs this country, just like the EPA, and we can go through all the alphabet soup departments. This monster of the federal government has been out of control for decades. Decades. I was born in 1956. President Eisenhower, in his final speech to the American people, warned about the military-industrial complex. That's part of the bureaucratic state. Unelected, faceless, nameless officials. That's what Trump talks about when he talks about the swamp. You may hate Donald Trump's guts, or you may love him, but doesn't make him wrong. And this is a prime example. Holding small children's nutritional needs hostage to expand what you think is proper. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, and it's not anti-trans, and it's not anti-this or anti-that. It's simply despicable to make small kids go hungry unless what you believe is pushed in schools. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.